boxing truth here. A lot of people are having a discussion about who's the true pound for pound king, as there's some fans not willing to accept the flyweight being the best fighter in the world pound for pound of Roman Gonzalez, despite all he's accomplished, multiple titles that he's won, moving up divisions, and now moving up yet another division to challenge an undefeated title holder in Carlos Cuadras, who's considered the number one guy. Not an easy fight. And if Roman were to defeat Cuadras and earn another title in four weight divisions, he makes a strong claim to remain the pound for pound king. If the Kovalev Ward fight happens, there's been a lot of discussion about the winner of that fight being the best in the world pound for pound. But if Kovalev defeats Ward and if the fight happens, I don't consider him being the best in the world pound for pound, because he would beat a Ward that hasn't done shit in years. I mean, Ward's fought nothing but hand-picked opposition the past 3 years, hasn't fought a top-level opponent in 5 years. So how impressive should that win be, based on how Ward's been looking his past 3 fights? He hasn't looked all that good, nowhere near the level of his super middleweight days. So no one's talking about, what about Kell Brook? If he was to shock the boxing world and pull off a major upset in defeating the most feared fighter in the world, Gennady Golovkin, what type of claim would he have to the pound for pound throne if he was to defeat Gennady Golovkin? I think Kell Brook makes a very strong case of being the best fighter in the world pound for pound, because he would have done something that's more impressive than, I would say, anything Gonzalez has done, anything Kovalev has done, and anything Ward will do, even if he were somehow to defeat Kovalev, which would be impressive if that fight happens. But Ward's a very slight favorite over Kovalev. Gonzalez is a slight favorite. I mean, he's a favorite over Cuadras. He's been pretty much the favorite throughout his career. As is Ward, as is Kovalev in most of his fights. So Kell Brook will, if he can pull it off, will accomplish an almost impossible feat, as a lot of people are counting Kell Brook out. A lot of people not even giving this guy a chance. And it's simply because he's moving up 2 weight divisions. But I'm not counting Kell Brook completely out, because I think this kid is a hell of a damn good fighter. Perhaps he is a special fighter. It's too bad he hasn't been able to prove it at welterweight. He will have to prove it by jumping up 2 divisions and taking on one of the baddest men on the planet. But Kell Brook is definitely the most skillful, the most confident, the most talented fighter Golovkin has faced in his professional career. I mean, it's a pleasure to watch Kell Brook fight. The guy's very fluid with his movement, fast. He's fast with his footwork. He's fast with his hands. He's got very good punching power. He's been destroying opponents as of late. Guys can't go more than a few rounds with him. He has a very good jab. Very good. An excellent 1-2. His left hook is very good, especially to the body, but his right hand is his most dangerous weapon in his arsenal. His right hand is great. Whatever he throws with his right hand is a thing of beauty, and is fucking dangerous, fast, and with power. His straight right hand is lethal. His uppercut is lights out. And his overhand right that he loops it through his opponent's guard is one of his best. It's arguably his best punch. His uppercut is arguably his best punch as well. I mean, those 2 punches are game changers. His overhand right that he loops over his opponent's guard, and the right uppercut. The kid is probably special, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gives Golovkin a lot of trouble. The only question is if he can take Triple G's power. And if he can, Kell Brook will pull off the upset. He will defeat Golovkin if he can take his power, because it's not going to be an easy fight for Golovkin. But what makes Golovkin very dangerous is that he's got very good feet. He's got very quick feet. He's quicker with his feet than he's actually with his hands. He's also a very good counter puncher, and his punching power is elite. And one of Kell Brook's weaknesses is that he keeps his left hand a little too low sometimes, and he can get hit with it. He can get hit with straight right hands over the top, and that's one of Golovkin's, his overhand, looping overhand right. He can catch him with it. It could do a lot of damage. So Brook's got to watch out for that overhand right. He's got to keep his left hand up. But I think it's going to be a hell of a fight, man. This Triple G Kell Brook fight, this is not a Canelo Khan. Because Kell Brook is lethal with both hands, fast, explosive. And he might even punch the shit out of Golovkin and shock a lot of people and surprise by, maybe even jumping off to an early lead because of his foot speed and his hand speed, because he's quicker than Golovkin. But Kell Brook, I think he's the best welterweight in the world, and it's by default because he hasn't proven it. It's simply by the eye test and the talent that he brings, that he displays in the ring. He just shows to be the more complete fighter out of everybody in the welterweight division. Not named Manny Pacquiao since he's coming back, but out of all the guys around Brook's age group, he's the best of the best. And I will also pick Kell Brook over Timothy Bradley right now. He would beat Errol Spence right now, even though people are trying to say that Kell Brook is running up to middleweight to get beat to avoid Errol Spence. Nah, man. It's laughable to say that Kell Brook is scared of Errol Spence. Eddie Hearn will tell you that they offered Spence's team a fight with Kell Brook in the past, and his team turned it down, Spence's team, because they knew that he wasn't ready. Kell Brook ain't afraid of Errol Spence. Errol Spence, I don't even think is ready for that type of challenge yet. I think Errol Spence should be fortunate that Kell Brook moved up in weight, and Spence shouldn't have to fight a guy like Kell Brook who's a lot more experienced and is arguably the best welterweight in the world for Spence's first world title shot. It's better off that Spence wins a vacant strap and begins his reign instead of fighting a very damn good fighter in Kell Brook, because I would pick Kell Brook to beat Spence right now, because Spence is a lot easier to hit compared to a Kell Brook. Kell Brook is not easy to hit. It's a lot more difficult, and his experience, his defense would be the difference in that fight right now. You could arguably say Kell Brook is the best, would beat everybody at 54. I take Kell Brook over the Charlo brothers. I think he beats the shit out of Erislandy Lara. And it's an even fight with Canelo Alvarez, but Canelo's going to move up in weight. If everything goes well with Liam Smith, it's pretty much a one and done at that weight. Pick up that strap if everything goes well, and then trash it, then move up to middleweight. But Kell Brook, Canelo Alvarez will be a hell of a fight. If that was to somehow happen, that would be a great fight. Be an evenly matched fight. Both guys are razor sharp. It'll be a fun fight to watch. But I'm not counting Kell Brook completely out in this Triple G fight, man. The more I look at it, the more I see it as even a dangerous fight for Golovkin, because of Brook's talent, his speed, and the momentum he's coming in. He's very confident. He's going to be fighting at a a weight that he doesn't have to drain himself. He's gonna be fresh and more energized, and I think he'll carry the weight very well. I don't think it's gonna be a big factor. Golovkin's not gonna have a huge weight advantage. I mean, the heaviest I seen the guy come in was 172. If he has any type of weight advantage, it won't be no more than 5 to 10 pounds. So I think this is the best card of the year in boxing. Everything that has been presented in America, September 10th will be the best card. Is hands down the best card HBO has presented to the subscribers. And I think it's the best card of the year. Even though a lot of people see it as a mismatch, it's going to be a hell of a fight. I really can't. I'll be very impressed if Golovkin gets Kell Brook out of there within 3-4 rounds. I'd be very impressed. I don't think it's going to go down that way. I think it's going to go some rounds. I think Golovkin will have trouble. And it's going to be a questioning of whether Kell Brook can take his power. And if he can, Kell Brook's going to pull off the upset if he can take Golovkin's power. And I think he makes the strongest claim to the throne, pound for pound throne, if he can somehow pull off this upset. I'm not making the official pick yet, but the more I'm looking at Kell Brook, the more footage I see, the more I see it as it's not a foregone conclusion by no means. It's not a guaranteed win for Golovkin, considering the danger of Golovkin being the road warrior, traveling to Kell Brook's home turf on his network. It's a dangerous fight for both guys, especially for Kell Brook because of the power Golovkin brings. But if Golovkin can't hurt him, man, if he can't hurt Kell Brook or just is having trouble landing his power on him, it's going to be a hell of a fight and a winnable fight for Kell Brook. And I can't wait till September 10th. As I see Kell Brook more and more every day having a much better chance at upsetting the odds than compared to when the first fight was announced. But definitely, I think if he was to upset Golovkin, he makes the strongest claims to the pound for pound throne. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.